Hey guys, I'm back with a new video. From this video onwards, let us start learning about the fundamentals of CSS. In this video, let us start with the absolute basics of CSS before we put the knowledge that we gain into action. Now, if you're new to my channel, definitely check out all my other videos. I mostly create content on programming, web development, and machine learning. If this interests you, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more such awesome videos. Let's dive in. So the topic is CSS. So CSS, as we know, stands for Cascading Style Sheets, which means that using CSS, we can describe the look and feel of the page by writing some bunch of CSS rules. So using CSS, you will be able to control the layout of multiple web pages all at once. And this is what we will start with in CSS. In this introductory video, let us understand the syntax for CSS. So a CSS rule set comprises of a selector and a declaration block. So selector and a declaration block. So if, for example, we want to style a paragraph and we want to give it a font size of say 10 pixels and a color of red, then we can frame a CSS rule for it. So CSS rule, let us see an example. For the paragraph, which is our selector, if we want to give it a bunch of styles, we first define the declaration block using curly braces. And right inside this declaration block, we define our CSS declarations. So this is how we frame a CSS rule. Now let us give this a font size of 10 pixels and a color of red. So color property and set this to red. So the selector in a CSS rule refers to the HTML element on which we want to apply the styles. So this is our HTML element on which we are applying these styles, and then using these curly braces we define a declaration block where we house one or more declarations separated by semicolons, and it is these declarations that help us in working with the visual aspect of an element. Each declaration that we define includes a CSS property name. So this is our CSS property name, followed by a colon and then the value for the property. Now if we have multiple CSS declarations just like we have for this example, then we separate each CSS declaration with the help of semicolons. So essentially, if you want to define a CSS rule, all we need is a selector to reference the element that we want to style, and then using these curly braces, we can define one or more CSS declarations to style the element that is pointed by the selector that we are using. So let us see some CSS in action. Let us head over to Visual Studio Code. So right inside our main folder, let us create a new folder and name it as CSS. And inside the CSS folder, let us create a new file and name it as intro.html. Let us quickly scaffold our basic HTML boilerplate in intro.html. So exclamation press tab, CSS introduction. Now right inside the body tag, let us add a paragraph tag, so P, and here let us add some text. Today is a good day. Now to style this paragraph, let us basically add a CSS rule for our paragraph. Let us go right inside the head element and add a CSS rule for our paragraph. So right here, let us add a style element. And now inside the style element, let us add a CSS rule for the P element. So selector and then the declaration block like this. So the selector in this case is our P element, which is this one. And then inside this curly braces is where our declarations will go. So let us give a couple of CSS styles to the P element. We will be discussing about these styles in a separate video. Let us first add a font size of 20 pixels. So font size, set this to 20 pixels and add a color of red. Now to see this in action, let us open our intro.html file using the live server extension. So click on open with live server. And let us give this a preview. So you can see the paragraph now has a font size of 20 pixels and the color has turned to red. So this was all I wanted to cover in this introductory video to CSS. If you liked the video, do give it a thumbs up or comment down below if you have any query. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon to get the notification for all my upcoming uploads, and I will see you guys in the very next one.